If you're in debt to a school that taught you this as a woman, you can pay your own loan. Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Akorn. I hope all of you are having a great weekend and that you're ready for today's show, Laugh While the World Burns, where we highlight some of the idiocracy that is modern-day society. If you enjoyed this series, please help support the channel and watch this video to the end. Consider hitting that like button, and if you haven't already, smash subscribe and click that bell, and share this video with your family, friends, and social media. We have a lot of good memes and some idiocracy news this week, so let's get into it. NBA player Isaiah Hartenstein reveals his father is black and says he is bright-skinned. The internet has thoughts. I read this article, and actually, his dad was half black. But regardless of that fact, this is just another example of how a lot of white people today hate their skin color so much that they will reach and stretch as far as they can in order to claim that they're anything besides white. Software engineer wore an Apple Vision Pro to his wedding. I could say a lot of things right here, but at the very least, she should have just turned around and left. Breaking news, fertility clinic turns out to be another unhinged Democrat lunatic. And yeah, of course it's going to disappear from the news as soon as they found that out, just as it always does. Introduction to female anatomy. Introduction to male anatomy.
How is this not propaganda?
If you skip due process coming in, you shouldn't get it going out. No, you shouldn't. However, these days, illegals and criminals have more rights than law-abiding citizens. And law-abiding citizens is turned into criminals by unconstitutional laws. Democrats begin chugging artificial food dyes to protest RFK. On the heels of news that Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. would be banning synthetic colors in the manufacturing of foods, Democrats across the country began chugging artificial food dyes as a bold act of protest. The civil disobedience served to underscore the displeasure of citizens on the left for what they described as oppressive fascism that would deprive them of their right to develop severe hormonal, autoimmune, and reproductive side effects, as well as put themselves at increased risk for various cancers. And yes, this is the Babylon Bee. However, would it really be that surprising if they actually did this? Not to me. I don't think much of anything would surprise me these days. Democrats when a black person has a conservative opinion. Yeah, that is very true. Seen a lot of examples of it.
The recommendation of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
Attendant facing decades in prison after bust involving new drug made of human bones. A Colombian flight attendant was arrested at airport following a large drug bust involving a new synthetic substance that is reportedly made of human bones. 21-year-old Charlotte May Lee of South London, England, was taken into custody earlier this month at the airport in Colombo, the capital of Sri Lanka, after authorities allegedly found 101 pounds of a dangerous new synthetic drug. I'd just like to know how somebody brought this up in the conversation of making this new synthetic substance when they said something like, hey, let's grind up some human bones and add that to the mix. I'm sure that'll really give it a kick. Elitists no more. Caviar is turning casual. When Burger King announced it was selling caviar with nuggets at its French restaurants on April 1st, many people assumed it was an April Fool's joke. But as news spread on social media, buyers rushed to try one of the world's most expensive delicacies, paired with a humble and highly commoditized piece of deep-fried chicken while limited stocks lasted. For $22, they got 7 nuggets, mayonnaise, and a 10-gram, or 0.35-ounce, pouch of Chinese origin caviar from the Astania brand, which explained it had worked with the fast food giant to make the caviar of chefs available to as many people as possible. No, they're not. What they're really doing is the billionaires are just mocking the public masses. I mean, they literally have told the people, here's some caviar for your chicken nuggets. The 4 horsemen of, I'm not watching this. That is very true. Twisted Degenerate wears bullet bracelet from Ukraine. Nancy Pelosi, the twisted degenerate drunk elected by Californian voters who themselves exist in a mindless stupor, proudly displayed a new bracelet made from bullets used to unalive Russians. Does this mean war death is a fashion statement for Californians? Nothing says progressive values like parading death as a fashion statement. I don't care what your view of Ukraine and NATO and the whole mess that they've created over there, but this here is still pretty sickening. Nothing to see here, just 3 ways of how they poison us, but that's none of my business. Michelle Obama makes bizarre pro-child sacrifice argument.
The least of what the female body does is produce life.
Well, they wouldn't know. The real reason we can't have the 10 Commandments in a courthouse. You cannot post. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And thou shalt not lie. In a building full of lawyers, judges, and politicians. It creates a hostile work environment. George Carlin. Yeah, and those things are just the start. Mark Zuckerberg after years of stealing your data and censoring truth on Facebook. Yeah, it's all a joke anymore. There is no such thing as privacy. They know more about us than probably what we know about ourselves. Republicans mock Democrats' latest move to troll Trump. The DNC again showed an inability to effectively counter the Trump administration on Tuesday, this time by funding a taco truck to be parked outside Republican headquarters in the nation's capital. The taco truck alludes to an acronym Democrats have been pushing in recent weeks, Trump always chickens out, a reference to the administration's tariffs and trade deals. The taco truck is serving free tacos as part of the troll. With his idiotic trade policy, he talks a big game, caves, and then leaves working families and small businesses to deal with the fallout. DNC Chair Ken Martin said in a statement to Axios, Trump always chickens out. We're just bringing the tacos to match. At the very least, that is a pretty poor attempt at trolling.
Okay, do you have some ID on you?
Did I do anything wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I literally got here. I can show you.
Do you want to give us your ID? Do you have your ID or not?
Yeah.
Is this your house?
No, I'm going door to door.
Yeah, come on, step over here. How come you're dressed in a UPS uniform?
It's a joke. It's about...
Yeah, get your ID out. It's very funny. Sit down. This is
Do
weird.
you have any guns or weapons on you?
No!
Put your hands on the spit. Oh, pardon, look at this.
You're getting detained. Put your hands in your back. Is that a fucking gun? What is that? What are you doing? That is the worst fake seizure I have ever seen. Knock it off. Snap out of it. You're having a seizure. I want to make sure you're okay.
Stop!
Breathe. Breathe.
Stop!
Then stop pretending to have a seizure.
you don't have a seizure.
Because you're not having a seizure. There's two ways to do this. This isn't Seattle.
Thanks to your negative rhetoric, Blue Sky has collapsed. Are you happy now?
What's Blue Sky? I think I've heard the name a couple of times, but yeah, I have no idea what it is either. Nor do I care, though. I just learned that if a hermit crab finds a new shell that is too big, it will wait for other hermit crabs who need new shells to gather, and then they will organize themselves by size and trade shells. And I'm pissed that the crabs have a better housing market than we do. How many of you guys have ever had hermit crabs as pets? I used to have a few way back in the day when I was a kid. I like that my president doesn't shuffle over to sniff the nearest kid. It's very sad that this can even be a meme. Journalist Jake Tapper on the trail of the people who allegedly lied and covered up for Joe Biden. Liberals aren't unfunny people. It's just really hard to make a legitimately funny meme defending something that is false. Although the last part is true, I'd say the majority of liberals, though, are not funny people. They're too politically correct for that to even be possible. A biological male defeated everyone in a women's competition. What did that prove? That it's possible to win and still be a loser. Why did Noah build an ark when he could have just simply paid more taxes to stop climate change? Maybe that's why they're so afraid that the sea level is gonna rise.
You can't talk to me like I'm crazy.
Touche.
Because in my I'm the king. Can't be two kings.
But then how could you date a woman that makes 200 billion?
Name me a nation with two kings.
I can't.
You can't. So that's what I'm saying. But if it's 2 billion and you got 200 billion, that's I gotta respect you.
So she's the queen.
Yeah, but just because she makes more than me doesn't mean she's masculine. You guys are masculine right here. Now right here. Motherfucker, where you been? Who is that? That's what guys don't really like and respect.
63% of voters believe journalists knew about Biden's mental decline, but covered it up. I'm sure that's a mistake. The poll results? Calling them journalists. That's 100% fact check true. And that goes for just about all media, including a good portion of the so-called alternative news. The ceiling collapses in theater during screening of new Final Destination movie. Well, that'd be kind of creepy. So you're saying that tobacco products on race cars will make me want to smoke, but their gay and drag queen storybooks won't influence my life choices? You women may be surprised to learn that making us sleep on the couch isn't that bad. It's kind of manly, makes us feel like we're camping, with a really angry bear nearby. I just thought this one was pretty funny, so I just had to include it in today's video. Trump skyrocketed non-judicial removals to over 300,000 illegals, put illegals in camps and cages, and was called the deporter-in-chief. Just kidding, that was Obama. Fact check true, but you don't hear any of the left saying anything about that at that time or today. When teachers fight to keep drag queens in school and the Bible out of school, you need new teachers. I agree with this 1,000%, and that's just the start. Bank. To qualify for a mortgage, you need to build credit. Me. I've never missed a rent payment. bank. Oh, that doesn't count. It's extremely different for some reason. Yeah, the system has many ways to make sure that they keep the little people down. When a billionaire unalives, who inherits their senators? They should be buried with them like a pharaoh. Didn't they also do that to the cats that Pharaoh had? They'd kill them and mummify them and put them in the tomb with him. Remember, you can't use reason or logic with people that don't know the difference between a boy and a girl. No, you certainly can't. Your spouse might be a far right. Know the warning signs. Do they have zero student loan debt? Do they place your family's needs before the needs of others? Do they refuse to live in major cities? Do they display the flag of the USA? Do they have biblical beliefs? If so, your spouse may be a keeper. If I got and a YouTuber described me as being an unalived, I'm hunting the out of that YouTuber. I've mentioned on past shows about what I call replacement words, because a lot of people complains about me using them. I made the statement several times now that unfortunately, you're going to see a lot more content creators using replacement words. The reason isn't that we care what people think. The reason is YouTube's algorithm. It picks up on any kinds of words like that and can label the video into multiple different categories, such as violent content. When that happens, the videos are demonetized, regardless of what they're calling to be violent, because most advertisers don't want their products attached to videos that are considered violent. That's just one example. There's a huge list of categories, and in each one of those categories is a whole long list of subcategories. And every time that we content creators upload a video, we have to go through that whole long list and select anything in there that could possibly fit the video, or fit any possible description in the video. Regardless, as I've stated before, you're going to see a whole lot more YouTubers using replacement words. Snorkeler finds lost ring wrapped around fish's body in Australia. A snorkeler has reportedly discovered a man's missing wedding ring after spotting it around a fish's neck. Nathan Reeves and his wife were visiting Norfolk Island, Australia in January when he realized that his ring had slipped off in the water. However, local snorkeler Susan Pryor recently spotted the missing golden ring wrapped around a mullet fish while diving, but she didn't manage to catch it. Locals are now trying to find the fish again to get the ring off it safely and return it to Mr. Reeves. Maybe the fish just wanted a gold necklace. I'm paying off my student loan debt. I don't think that'll be enough. Truck carrying millions of bees overturns in Washington. There was a buzz in the air Friday in northwestern Washington state as about 250 million honeybees escaped a commercial truck that overturned. The truck hauling an estimated 70,000 pounds of honeybee hives rolled over around 4 a.m. close to the Canadian border near Linden, the sheriff's office said in social media post. You guys can read the rest if you want, but basically there was a lot of beekeepers that showed up and they're trying to save as many of the bees as possible. Sanctuary jurisdictions list featuring Oregon, Washington, removed from DHS website. Days after publishing a list of what the Trump administration called sanctuary jurisdictions, the Department of Homeland Security has removed that list from its website. The list was for cities, states, and counties that the White House say were refusing to enforce national immigration laws. President Donald Trump has criticized sanctuary states and cities, claiming their policies of not enforcing immigration law put the safety of American citizens in jeopardy. The removal comes after Department of Homeland Security received widespread criticism for including locations that supported the Trump administration's policy on immigration. Aliens invade Kansas lakes? Don't panic yet, but something scaly and suspicious is lurking in Kansas waters. No, not extraterrestrials, just armored catfish that look like they were designed by Pixar after 3 energy drinks. Biologists say these former aquarium pets are being dumped into lakes by humans with commitment issues, and they're now messing with the ecosystem like tiny wet anarchists. I'll be honest, that's one ugly looking fish that I wouldn't want to catch. In a move that screams philanthropy or bust, Bill Gates announced he'll donate nearly all of his $200 billion fortune over the next 20 years to health and education services across Africa. Speaking at the African Union, Gates declared he unalived rich won't be on his tombstone. Instead, he's opting for he unalived trying to fix everything. Hopefully, the Prince of Nigeria will finally stop emailing me. That's a pretty good one, actually. I don't think they'll ever stop, though. Birth rates are declining worldwide, while dog ownership is gaining popularity. Studies suggest that while dogs do not actually replace children, I guess some people have to be told that, they may in some cases offer an opportunity to fulfill a nurturing drive similar to parenting, but with fewer demands than raising biological offspring. I wonder how long they'll wait until they finally tell them that they're adopted. I'm a white liberal Democrat. I'm well educated, but I can't define what a woman is or name all 50 states. I need immigrants to pick my lettuce and work in factories because peasant work is beneath me. I need free sex change surgery to be my authentic self. I'm a queer for Palestine. The attempted of Trump was faked, but I wish they had better aim. MAGA is a cult, but Kamala Harris brings me joy. Reading, writing, and math are all tools of white supremacy. Jan 6th was an insurrection, but we need to overthrow Trump. There's no government waste or fraud, so stop finding it. There's no such thing as voter fraud unless a Republican wins. Calvin the Deplorable. Goodbye to 8,000 jobs. IBM replaces workers with artificial intelligence, sparking a wave of global reaction. Yeah, because, nobody saw this coming. Brand new $243,000 Ferrari Roma plunged down elevator at Florida dealership, led to remarkable recovery. There's nothing more sad than seeing a wrecked luxury supercar. I beg to differ. In today's world, there's a long list of things that is far more sad than some bent-up sheet metal and plastic with a high dollar price tag on it. If I had $1 for every time socialism worked, I would have $0. Coincidentally, if it did work, I would also have $0. I'm feeling wild tonight, sir. Please add 25 calories to my sandwich. When I'm a man, I want to be a Democrat. Well, you'll have to decide, honey. You can't be both. I'm sure we've all heard of the world-famous Navy SEALs. Allow me to introduce you to the new weapon in their arsenal, the Navy Raccoon. I think the most disconcerting part of this is the raccoon is wearing a coonskin cap. You look at this and you want to ask why. However, because of how society is today, we already know the answer. Trump tariffs sparked layoffs at Nike and Apple. And the worst part of it is because it's true. Make statues great again. I know we had the news article in a past episode about this, but the real question still remains. Why? How every trespass should be handled. Attention thieves, please carry ID so we can notify the next of kin. Well, that's certainly one way. The Facebook team laughing at my meme before hitting the ban button. My biggest fear about becoming a zombie is all the walking. Don't worry too much. Most of us could use it, if we're still able. I just canceled my Uber driver. I don't have time to deal with this today. When Alexa wakes you up at 3 a.m. with, "Sorry, I don't understand," that would be a little disconcerting to say the least. If you have to announce your pronouns, you're probably ugly. Liberals warn enforcing immigration law is a slippery slope that may lead to enforcing other laws. One of the biggest problems we have, though, is all the laws that's currently on the books that should have never existed in the first place. And I'll end today's show with this. Tolerance will reach such a level that intelligent people will be banned from thinking so as not to offend the imbeciles. Well, we're seeing it happen in real time, not just here in the US, but pretty much across all the Western nations. And that, friends, is not just by chance. I'd like to thank all of our channel members, Super Thanks users, and all of our subscribers and viewers. We greatly appreciate your support because this program is only made possible by viewers like you. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit that like button. And if you haven't already, smash subscribe and click that bell. Also, please remember to help spread the word about the channel and our growing community here by sharing these videos with your family and friends. That's it for today's show, but I'll see you all back here on Friday's show. Until then, I thank you all for watching. You guys take care and stay safe this week. This is Akorn, over and out.